Another type of Shanti. I love this Shanti. We don't like her.
Sure.
Like
So current affairs. What happened this week?
One big thing happened. The Home Ministry changed the name of Port Blair to Sri Vijaya Purana, removing the slavery symbol.
Okay. Then
Then Kejriwal got removed.
how did he get bail anyway?
why not?
I mean, it was his big minister, and that is not big.
He's a big minister. What has that anything to do with bail?
That has. Why did his bill get rejected in the first place?
Why is he in prison in the first place? Okay. What else?
Indian origin.
Are you going to read out the news? So give me the gist.
Indian origin lecturer थी उन्हें सिंगापुर में literally award.
इनको सिंगापुर में?
Literally award मिला.
Okay. Then
Carbon dioxide is stored in Rajasthan.
huh?
Carbon dioxide is stored in Rajasthan.
Steel carbon dioxide. Steel carbon dioxide. What's that?
Carbon dioxide in water.
And why is that relevant?
If it is in less amount, then more carbon dioxide will release in atmosphere and
It will result in what?
give problems to health issues.
Okay.
The presidential debate, US and Kamala Harris.
Wait, whoa.
Indian light tank है Zoravon. उसका DRDO ने सक्सेसफुल टेस्टिंग किया.
It's for high altitude
Yeah.
things.
It worked. Congratulations, honestly.
Then
We won't die.
huh?
Mpox का first case. हाँ, इंडिया में रजिस्टर हो गया monkeypox. We are done.
All of us are dead. Then
बस politically तो मरे हुए हैं.
what else?
We are dying.
Chalo, let's.
Mamata Banerjee, she said that she's ready to resign for the people of firstly.
Did she
I mean,
did she actually resign?
No, she didn't resign.
Big
She
move.
just said.
कहने के लिए तो मैं भी बोलूंगा सबको मैं 4-4 करोड़ रुपया दूंगा. कहने में क्या जाता हमारा कितना टका? हाँ?
Oh, the Russia and China naval activities. They have a naval exercise, but the fact is that over there, only 4 to 5 naval ships are going from China. The rest are going from Russia.
And
Yeah, they are.
but how is that relevant? Across the world, naval exercises are happening, right? So if it's an India involved or one of the largest in the world types, then we would remember. वरना तो 1000 exercises रोज होते हैं.
India and Oman की एक naval exercise है. Al Naja something. India and Oman.
Oman, it was a state.
But it is very pretty.
It is very
Pretty.
क्या?
Oman.
हाँ बड़े लोग. चलो, let's see what we have.
फोटो में देखा.
फोटो में तो मैंने बहुत कुछ देखा है.
तो बड़े.
Okay. There is something called the Pradhan Mantri School for Rising India or PM3 scheme. And the states were getting funding if they registered for this. So Punjab, Delhi till now were not, and the funding was to be cut off. So now Punjab and now Delhi government has agreed to the memorandum of understanding with the central government. Originally, Delhi, Punjab, and West Bengal, because they did not sign all this stuff, they were not getting fundings for the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan. Now, why the news is relevant, or what is the relevant part that we can pick up from this, is all the schemes that are being talked about. So the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, it's an integrated scheme for school education, right from preschool to standard 12th. And it's for inclusive and equitable quality education at all levels. So right from pre-KG up to standard 12th. That is the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan.
Any of this work, any question, no.
Yeah.
To answer, did any of Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, Pradhan Mantri, did they work?
They are ongoing projects. They are absolutely working. Why do you think it does?
No. I have a question. I mean, the government has invested a lot of money. Is the money being utilized correct?
It's a very difficult question.
You're talking about education, primary.
It's a very difficult.
How is the money not being utilized? I would not say 100% utilized because सरकारी money है. Corruption में जाने जाना है पैसा. हाँ, बिना corruption के जाएगा तो पैसा थोड़ी है.
Yes, exactly. चलेगा नहीं.
Okay. So there are 3 schemes which come under the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan: the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, and the teacher education. Nobody goes by short forms.
वो by chance एक option में like आपने कर दिया तुमने
Nobody is going to give you contradictory answer वाले things. And CLAT अगर करेगा तो challenge होगा और cancel कर देंगे, हो हल्ला होगा फिर cancel कर देंगे. Okay. So the scheme basically emphasizes on improving quality of education by focusing on teacher and technology. And it's a centrally sponsored scheme. The sharing of funding is 90-10 center state when it comes to northeastern states and Himalayan states. And in other states and union territories, the thing is 60-40. And the PM Shri scheme, again, a centrally sponsored initiative started in 2022. It wants to establish 14,500 schools, PM Shri schools, by enhancing existing schools as part of the NEP, the National Education Policy of 2020. Done. Right. Done. Okay. PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Sounds ekdam fancy and sounds like one of those typical but this is actually something very smart. It's not a freebie. Technically speaking, although the Bijli is free, it's not a freebie. So this is under Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So you can guess how the Bijli would be free. Yeah, it's a technical question. Install solar panels. Your Bijli is automatically free. The only cost is your establishment cost for the infrastructure. So it's not a freebie. It's actually technically a good scheme. So it has approved 75,000 crore rupees, and 1 crore families are expected to be benefited by this.
25, right? 20.
Hmm?
25 हो गई पूरी फैमिली को मिला।
The Union Cabinet approved it in February 2024.
यही होगी।
Okay. So, as part of the draft guidelines, they have put up the guidelines, the legal things and other. So, it is under the Renewable Energy Services Company model and utility-led asset model, basically part of the rooftop solar scheme, where the RESCO, which is Renewable Energy Services Company, will develop and own the rooftop solar system, which is installed on the consumer's rooftop for at least 5 years. Panels will be installed on top of family houses. It will be the construction and ownership of that solar panel will, however, belong to the company which does it. So all the expenses for maintaining that plant does not have to be borne by the individual. It will be borne by the company. So customer pays the RESCO for electricity generated and receive net metering benefits on their electricity bill.
Eventually, customer has to, yeah.
Tanstafel. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch.
Like अभी का solar है वो उससे अच्छा है।
Yeah.
You install and you don't have to pay anything. मतलब you install for the payment करो install के लिए, उसके बाद you don't have to pay to anyone.
Okay.
तो उसमें तो pay करना
कौन सा?
और monthly जो भी होता है।
हाँ, इलेक्ट्रिक जितना जनरेट होता है उसके हिसाब से।
Completely जितना जनरेट हुआ है उससे ज्यादा ही उसके
जनरली उतना जनरेट होता है कि तुम ज्यादा यूज करोगे।
In fact, the RESCO may enter into an arrangement with a distribution company for the sale of generated power to the grid. Other than what you are using, the company can actually sell the excessive energy into the act. You understand what is the grid, electricity grid. So if suppose, let's say 100 units are generated and they need only 20, then the remaining 80 can actually be sent into the electricity grid. So, paisa kamao. And under the utility-led asset model, the state DISCOM owns the rooftop solar system for the project period of at least 5 years, after which the ownership is transferred to the household. Done? Okay. REAIM, Responsible AI in Military Domain Summit, was held in Seoul in South Korea, where they have come up with something called the Blueprint for Action, which is to govern responsible use of artificial intelligence in the military. However, it's a legally non-binding document. If you don't follow it, nothing can be done. Huh?
Like a code of conduct.
Yeah. Modern code of conduct technically is supposed to be binding.
Supposed to be
It's not.
They are at least open and saying हम सामने से बोल रहे legally non-binding है, so that कोई मजाक ना बन जाए इसका. But it's a good thing. So the inaugural summit was held last year, 23, and it's a platform for global discussion with all stakeholders to ensure responsible military applications of artificial intelligence. Where in the draft, in the guidelines, the blueprint for action, they talk about the impact of AI on international peace and security. It should be developed and deployed in such a way it does not undermine the international peace, security, and stability. So risks such as arms race, miscalculation, escalation, lowering threshold of conflict. These are problems which AI can generate. So they want to make sure that any foreseeable or even unforeseeable risks are not going to generate a next world war. Be very careful. So the entire thing stresses on the need to maintain human control. They say don't give everything to AI. There must be human intervention in between, at least for all actions which are critical. AI application should be ethical, human centric, applied in accordance with applicable national and international law, and promote dialogue on rigorous testing and evaluation protocols. Okay. Done. Done. Huh?
Done.
Okay. Now, first ever legally binding treaty on artificial intelligence has been signed by countries like US and UK. Huh? Okay. So this is to mitigate the threats that AI might pose to human rights, democracy, rule of law in US.
Democracy.
Code word for oil. Okay. Done. This is called the Framework Convention on Artificial Intelligence, Human Rights, Democracy, and Rule of Law. And it was created by the Council of Europe. This is different from the EU AI Act. So this treaty has a risk-based approach where it will ban any system if it is not compatible with human rights. This covers both public and private sector. It takes into consideration the diversity in legal systems because different countries, different laws. And this does not apply to national security, defense, and research development. Done? Do not keep stuff on my table.
Under your table.
You never keep stuff on anybody's table. Doesn't matter.
That has been raised. Yeah.
Done.
1 minute, sir. कुछ नहीं. एक सेकंड writing अरे यार. But you look like you're not expecting. There you go. Now go ahead.
Okay. I4C, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. I think they should have put the word prevention somewhere in between. When it seems like India has launched a center to coordinate cybercrime. Okay. So the Union Home Minister has launched 4 new initiatives under I4C, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. Cyber security, according to the minister, is now an important aspect of national security. When was it not? Okay. The I4C scheme actually was approved in 2018, 6 years back, and it has already been dedicated to the nation in 2020. Done? Okay. So the new initiatives are basically Cyber Fraud Mitigation Center to tackle online financial crimes, Cyber Commandos program, specialists trained cyber commandos in states and UTs and part of central police organizations. Then the Samanvay platform, which is Joint Cybercrime Investigation Facilitation System, and Cyber Suspect Registry. The 4 new initiatives. CFMC or Cyber Fraud Mitigation Center is to tackle online financial crimes. Cyber commandos are basically specialists to fight. The Samanvay platform is a web-based module for data sharing, crime mapping, data analytics and stuff. And Cyber Suspect Registry. It's basically with banks and financial institutions for fraud risk management. Done? Okay. Military diplomacy. An oxymoron if I ever heard one. India's military diplomacy. So basically, what is military diplomacy? It's pursuing foreign policy objectives through peaceful employment of defense resources and capabilities. So all the different exercises that we keep seeing, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and so on. All these exercises are basically part of a strategy called military diplomacy. Just by sharing our defense resources and capabilities during times of peace, it is a form of building good relations with other countries. So we also contribute to the UN peacekeeping missions, humanitarian assistance, and so on. Done. Okay. So significance of military diplomacy obviously is building trust and confidence, strengthening alliances and partnerships, defense modernization and capabilities, and other strategic things like geopolitical alliances, soft powers. And one of the major problems is because we always have had a non-aligned thing. We don't side with one. So at one hand, we have exercises with US. On the other hand, we have exercises with Russia. And US and Russia का आपस में 36 का आंकड़ा होता है लेकिन हम दोनों के साथ तो maintaining the balance between everything is a big problem, but somehow we managed to do it. Second, perception of being big brother, because in the Southeast Asian region we are one of the largest, so हर चीज में टांग अड़ाते हैं वो perception भी हो सकता है.
Russia, US,
Huh?
the Russia, US, the Vladimir Putin has invited Modi in October and has quoted that India can sit down on the table and solve the problem between.
तो जब यूक्रेन विजिट किया था फिर रशिया विजिट किया था एंड लास्ट मंथ
पहले रशिया था फिर
हाँ.
फिर से रशिया अक्टूबर
अक्टूबर में विल मोदी गो फर्स्ट वीक. हाँ, गरबा छोड़ के जाएंगे.
अभी तो इसे
Okay. So I think once before we did a list of various activity names with which specific country, and that list is huge. And that was a drop in the bucket. Done. Nothing specific in this. This is more of an essay than details. I know. Okay. Black coat syndrome. President mentioned this, and इस पे काफी news आया है. Multiple sources में I read about this. Any idea what is the black coat syndrome? It is similar to the white coat syndrome.
Wow.
So the president has called out the black coat syndrome and urged the Supreme Court to deal with justice for all. So what do you think that black coat is related to law? It's basically the common man experiences anxiety whenever he sees a black coat wearing lawyer, especially in court settings. Black coat syndrome is literally the anxiety felt by a common man when they are in a courtroom type settings. Huh? In the sense, in a courtroom setting, common man will feel anxiety. Don't think of you and me as the common man. Think of the common man as the man on the street. One phone call कि आपको कोर्ट में बुलाया है, and imagine the kind of anxiety. अरे मेरे को anxiety हो जाता है मेरे को अगर फोन कॉल आवे कि कोर्ट में बुलाया है.
कोर्टरूम जैसा ही फील होता है.
So then what do you think is the white coat syndrome?
Doctors.
Doctors. So white coat syndrome or white coat hypertension, it's actually the increase in people's blood pressure when they are in the hospital. Literally, the blood pressure of people goes up simply because they are aware of the fact that they are in a hospital. It's called white coat hypertension. Okay. Now, some reasons have been identified on why people get anxious in court settings. One, the number of cases which are already pending. 31 lakh 82 as of August 31st, 82,887 cases are pending in the Supreme Court.
Reasons for such perception, as in a common man gets anxiety or is afraid because there are a lot of cases pending.
तो मेरा कब इतना ऑलरेडी पेंडिंग है तो मेरा कब कोई खत्म होगा मैं मर जाऊंगा मेरा बेटा मर जाएगा मेरा पोता मर जाएगा लेकिन मेरा इंसाफ नहीं मिलेगा रीजन फॉर एंजाइटी then delays in deciding serious crimes like rape which leads to the public perception that the judicial system is insensitive huh? कई बात सच्ची बात है but what's the reason for the delay? Nobody's. Do you think judges are responsible for the delays? Huh? Judges are not paid by the hour or something. So, what reason could a judge have for delays? Okay. Then, frequent adjournments. Especially people from villages when they have to come to court, it's a great deal of financial pressure, great deal of mental pressure. The typical tariq pe tariq pe tariq. Again, prime, one of the main reasons for stress. And then there are a lot of issues with district judiciary. For example, only 6.7% of the court infrastructure at district level is actually female friendly. This is a district level. State level pay, one would presume because state level pay, you're talking about high courts, there they may have a little better infrastructure. But most people won't start with the high courts. Cases start at the district level. So there, imagine not even 2 digits, 6.1 single digit number of courts are actually female friendly. Being female friendly, I presume, could be simple stuff like access to decent washrooms or having staff which can be helpful in dealing with females and stuff like that. Okay. So what steps are being taken to address these issues? One, speed up the efforts to modernize judiciary. The e-courts integrated mission mode project, tele-law program, basically they're using a lot of technology. Now a lot of court proceedings can happen through Zoom as well, or some, not just Zoom, but any telecalling or video calling software. I don't know whether you know this, but Supreme Court proceedings are streamed live. Every Supreme Court proceeding now is streamed live. You can simply go to the Supreme Court website and get the YouTube link for that. And I followed it a lot during the NEET hearings. So the entire thing is streamed live and you can watch it. Then alternate modes of resolution, also known as ADRs, alternate dispute resolution methods. Systems like the Lok Adalat. Then infrastructure gaps, central sponsored scheme for judicial. Literally, courtrooms are not there. Enough courtrooms are not there. Or the existing courtrooms are not in good condition.
What do you think is the reason for delay of so many cases? Delays in judgments.
One reason for that. Many a times, at least a few criminal cases which I would know about, the defense tries to keep on extending. See, most of the time, to the parties don't show up. You would be surprised at the number of time cases get deferred simply because the parties are not there and the lawyer says, "My milord, आज मेरा part ये नहीं है, हमको अगली डेट दे दो." 10 में से 7 केसेस में तो लिटरली यही होता है, सिर्फ अगला डेट मांग रहे हो. So whose fault is it? And somebody who's poor are not the one dealing. They actually will turn up because they are afraid. अमीर जिन पे केस हुआ होता है, they know कि कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. So they won't turn up and unnecessarily certain cases keep dragging in. फिर गरीब सोचेगा इतने इससे तो अच्छा मैं छोड़ दूं, जाने दूं. Anyway, and reforming laws to reduce pendency. For example, Section 479 of the BNSS, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, made bail accessible to under trials, even for first-time offenders, and this was done retrospectively. What does that mean? So the way law works is once the law is implemented, then it is applicable to everything which happens after it. But sometimes certain laws like this, they say this will be applied retrospectively, which means it is applicable even to those who were there before the law was existing. So even if a person had committed the offense before Section 479 came into force, they can still take benefit of Section 479. So that is a retrospective application of law. वरना normally law होता है कि law के implementation के बाद ही जो offense होता है उस पे apply होता है. But benefits like that they give retrospectively. Okay. And pro bono culture, which is basically providing free service. A lot of law firms do it. So there are initiatives called the Nyaya Bandhu program, where giving pro bono services or free services has to be institutionalized. It has to be made a part of all institutions. That certain X amount of time or X amount of money or whatever has to be devoted to providing free services to people for those who can't afford lawyers. Those following American television series would have heard this term a lot, pro bono.
Yeah.
Done? Okay. The Prime Minister highlighted achievements of the judiciary at National Conference of District Judiciary, organized as part of the 75th year celebration of the Supreme Court of India. Only takeaway, Supreme Court of India has celebrated 75 years. Okay. These articles are the important one, not the overall news. Article 13 is for judicial review, and Articles 32 and 226 empower the Supreme Court and High Courts to issue writs for enforcement of fundamental rights. So there are basically 5 writs when we talk about the Indian system. The 5 writs, anybody? Which are the 5 writs?
Habeas corpus.
So they are, for those who are interested in writing, the 5 writs are mandamus, habeas corpus, certiorari, one by one. Mandamus, mandamus. It means we command. It's basically a command given by the court to do something. Then habeas corpus. Habeas corpus. It literally means produce the body or bring the body. It's a judicial order to produce a person before the court. If a person has been arrested by the police, but they are not presenting him in front of the court, then the court issues the writ of habeas corpus directing the authority to bring them to the presence of the court. So mandamus, habeas corpus, quo warranto, QUO, quo warranto, WARRANTO, quo warranto. It basically asks what authority did you have to do this? Quo warranto literally means by what authority. So quo warranto is asking by what authority did you take this action? Then you have prohibition, as the name itself suggests. But not the daru wala prohibition. Prohibition is literally a ban on doing something. And the fifth one is certiorari. Certiorari, certiorari, where a higher court orders the lower court to certify certain things. So these are called the 5 writs. They're basically court orders, and many of them are actually for enforcement of fundamental rights. Now, did you get what are writs? Okay. So most of the time you will hear writ petition file kiya, writ petition file kiya. Yehi hota hai. Okay. Now we are going to take just a brief look at the name and the outcome of certain cases. So one, the most famous, it's the Keshavananda Bharati case. The entire thing is the Keshavananda Bharati Shripada Gadavaru versus the state of Kerala in 1973. It's called the Keshavananda Bharati case. And from this case, you got the basic structure of constitution, where limitations were put on the amending powers of the parliament. How much can you amend the constitution as long as it does not violate the basic structure? So it's also known as the basic structure doctrine. The one case you'll be studying again and again repeatedly when you study the constitution is the Keshavananda Bharati case. गोलकनाथ से पहले गोलकनाथ था फिर केशवानंद भारती. Huge changes. Basically, the case was regarding property, and originally property, right to own property was a fundamental right, which got shifted as a legal right. Right. So the question, details of the case, तो सिर्फ law school में जाके law school जानते हैं. But the outcome is that it was held that you cannot change the constitution if it is going to change the basic structure of the constitution. So any amendment can only be done as long as it does not alter the basic structure. Then you have the Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan case, which was about free and fair elections, democracy. Remember emergency period and all that.
How good I heard the emergency. I think she wanted to keep on being the prime minister, which delayed another issue on emergency.
Okay. Third, this case recently has been a lot in the news. It's the SR Bommai versus Union of India. No, this is about the dismissal of state governments under Article 356. Privacy is Puttaswamy, K. Puttaswamy case. This is SR Bommai is basically state when president's rule is imposed, state government could dismiss karke. So people always quote the SR Bommai case in that. You cannot arbitrarily dismiss a state government. And then you have ADR versus UOI case. Very recent. Because the electoral bond scheme was declared unconstitutional. Electoral bonds, pata hai? Last year, the solid news mein tha, where people could purchase electoral bonds to give to their favorite parties and so on and so forth. But the point was, it defeated the purpose of transparency in political funding. So then it was declared that the scheme itself is unconstitutional. Okay. The problem with judiciary, is obviously the low judge population ratio. For the largest population in the world, the number of judges we have is not enough. Everybody wants to be a lawyer, nobody wants to be a judge. Pendency of cases, judicial activism or overreach, threat of contempt of court, corruption, and so on. Big problems. For any small thing, the judges threaten people with contempt of court. तो डर लगता है फिर मुंह खोलने से. Power should not go to your head now. People many times misuse it. Done. Okay. I don't even know why this news is there. Huh? Judiciary. I don't even know why I put this up. Just Major Dhyan Chand, hockey wizard, and the Khel Ratna awards are given in his name. बहुत randomly आया है बीच में ये. Major Dhyan Chand, Khel Ratna awards, hockey. Hitler offered him the citizenship of Germany, which he famously refused.
that इसकी ऑफिस सेक्शन कुछ मैग्नेट था बॉल के साथ जो चिपका के रखा है.
Okay. India's first indigenously built unmanned combat aerial vehicle, recently launched by Flying Wedge Defense and Aerospace. This is the FWD 200B. All this is technical, blah, blah, not necessary. The only thing is India's first indigenously built unmanned combat aerial vehicle was built by Flying Wedge Defense and Aerospace. It's the FWD 200B. But it's not important. Huh?
एक मिनट रुकना.
Done. सिर्फ टाइटल ही लिखना है. हो गया. This is Agni 4. Last time somebody did mention it.
Yeah.
Agni 4, it's an intermediate range ballistic missile launched from Chandipur in Odisha. These four names are important. Our short range surface to surface ballistic missiles are called Prithvi. The short range low level surface to air missiles are called Trishul. Medium range surface to air missiles are called Akash. And the third generation anti tank missiles are called Nag. Last time somebody mentioned Agni 4 and I was asking, right, what type of missile it is and other things. So, all that. Done. Done?
एक minute.
चलो बढ़े ये बढ़े okay so Google Meet has basically introduced take notes for me AI feature which can automatically record and save meeting notes in Google Docs वाह तो ऐसे बोल रहे जैसे कभी यूज भी किया हो लाइफ में ये
Google Meet किया
नहीं Google Docs पे है Google Meet पे क्या नोट्स ले लिए इजी पढ़ नोट्स मिस आउट भी हो इसके चक्कर में
done so now note taking made easy okay Deaf shooting championship India won 4 medals but where was it conducted country here Anuya Prasad won gold Abhinav Deshwal won silver in 2 events and Shubham Vashisht won a silver and a bronze even these things have to be noted down I'm just putting them in form of snippets but that doesn't mean it's just answer the question type they are also relevant information to be remembered but any idea where these things were conducted country known for technology known for engineering basically Germany France same as Olympics
The mayor of France requested the International Olympic Agency to allow them to keep the Olympic का symbol on the Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower family opposed it
हाँ तो फिर सबने मना किया. But the Olympic Association agreed, but the citizens and everyone.
the Eiffel family
Family
opposed
was
it
also.
ये गंदा था चिपका के रख दिया लोग वो देखने नहीं आ रहे लोग Eiffel Tower देखने
ये था ना कि मॉन्यूमेंट को खराब कर देता. So
when you're done with it you're done with it बस बहुत हो गया अभी 4 तारीख तक नहीं चिपका देगा उसको okay who has introduced AI vision huh
Is it Elon Musk?
कम गप्पे मारेंगे तो फटाफट लिख पाएंगे okay which company or organization has introduced AI vision which is an AI powered feature on mobile app to enhance travel experience it gives you real time updates on flight details luggage status meal options so that should give you an idea of what type of
it's a
answer you're looking for
it's an airline.
Emirates.
Qatar.
Air India.
Oh wow.
Air India
Tata ने take over.
Air India,
सबसे
Tata
हुआ है.
ने-
I am telling you Tata for the win.
AI vision my dad.
Hmm?
My dad's working on it really good.
your dad works with Air India
No, my dad works for TCS. So TCS is collaborating with Air India to do some things, so do some changes in it.
Collaboration नहीं है.
So he was talking about this कि कुछ तो आया है. He works in Sodexo. He works with Sodexo right now. So उन्होंने बोला था कि कुछ तो आया है about the Air India thing. So they're asking me if I can join the program. So he's gonna decline it. But this is good, yeah.
done
Air India it became better after Tata.
after Tata reclaimed it
It was
Yeah,
Tata,
my
but
after
फिर
Tata,
government फिर
he
Tata.
claimed it. He claimed it. I'm so glad somebody brought
Done.
globalization.
okay the first player to reach 900 career goals during Portugal's 2-1 win over Croatia Done.
I was gonna guess Pele.
Ronaldo के साथ
Then Messi.
How could Pele have made
हाँ,
that aim in
then I saw the dates.
2024?
Yeah, then I saw the date.
Pele is कब का out?
Just then I saw the date. So I'm like, it cannot be Pele. Then I was gonna guess Messi. Because I Messi for United.
Messi is Portugal or Argentina?
Argentina. Messi is Argentina.
मेरे को पता है तो फिर लोगों को पता होना चाहिए. Because I'm the last person to know these.
You're 42. That's not old.
Nothing to do with age. I hate sports.
You hate
Sports
sports?
suck.
Why?
Big time.
Huh?
They make you sweat.
अरे
I hate sweating.
India का sun also makes you sweat.
Huh?
India का sun also makes
So
I hate, I hate it. Huh? वही जो तुमको मैथ्स में दिखती है.
मैच में सब कुछ
मैथ्स में स्पोर्ट्स में सब कुछ दुखता है.
मैच में दिल और हार्ट में सब कुछ
Okay. चलो स्पोर्ट्स फैंस. तुम तो बड़े स्पोर्ट्स फैंस हो ना. बताओ. Who made history by becoming India's first female boxing champion at the Asian Championships?
इतना सारा नहीं स्पोर्ट्स सारे
You'll just be seeing a bunch of white men sitting around in cars and going round. और कोई स्पोर्ट्स नहीं देख रहे हैं.
Not necessarily white men.
हाँ तो all the feminists in the house. हाँ?
One
क्या?
some Asian as well. So that not necessarily white men.
I give a shit. चलो आगे चलो. This is Deepali Thapa. She became India's first female boxer at the Asian Championships. Done.
No.
अरे सब मुझे आपको 2 मिनट.
Okay. Next one, everybody should be able to answer. Blueprint for responsible use. So Seoul in South Korea is hosting the international summit. Huh?
There's a street in South Korea. I know. You can get me some. I'll get you.
Okay. The Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship has partnered with whom to launch a program aimed at enhancing skill and employment opportunities for the company's delivery partners and restaurant staff.
It should be Zomato या तो Swiggy या एक दोनों में से एक होना चाहिए. और
Swiggy.
delivery partner.
Swiggy.
Tomato.
हाँ?
Zomato Swiggy.
Tomato or Swiggy.
Any day.
Okay.
Any day.
Paraka nuclear energy plant is situated in Al Dhafra in Abu Dhabi. Okay. Who recently lost a legal battle with the European Union, because of which the company has to pay now 13 billion euros in back taxes to Ireland?
Is it a social media?
Microsoft.
Papa, Shant.
जो जितना
It should be a beer company.
a beer का not
You are in the right domain first. Why would it be a beer company? Beer companies are the most ethical companies.
It's technical consequence.
दारू पीने के बाद कोई झूठ नहीं बोलता है.
Then
तुम तो ऐसे बोल रही जैसे बहुत एक्सपीरियंस हो. Okay. This is the mother of all. Apple.
You definitely want to go bankrupt. But एक जीरो भी गायब नहीं होगा उसके bankrupt ऐसे तो.
अरे जब एप्पल ने भी लॉन्च कर लिया ना
iPhone 16 launch हो गया.
ये कवर हो गया. तुम जैसे पागल ही खरीदेंगे लाइन में खड़े हो गए.
उधर कौन दे रहा है
वही तो.
ये फोन देख
हमारे पास नहीं है सर.
ये है मेरे पास
हमारी स्क्रीन टूटी हुई है.
Done.
चला एकदम
Okay. Who is preparing to launch the first uncrewed Starship mission to Mars in the next 2 years? SpaceX.
Bring us back.
Elon Musk.
Musk.
Okay. Which navy launched 2 ships called Malpe and Mulki? These are basically the 4th and 5th ships to build 8 anti-submarine warfare shallow water crafts.
चाइना जापान
Just because they don't sound Gujarati or Hindi doesn't mean they cannot be Indian names. Wait, because if it's a Guju or Hindi name, it will sound familiar to our ears. I have no idea. Chalo. Which institute achieved number 1 ranking globally for networking in LinkedIn Global MBA Ranking 2024?
इंडिया की कोई यूनिवर्सिटी है
कोई भी एक
IIT मुंबई
This is the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, IIFT. The newer campus is called IIFT was basically north.
अभी तो IIT
South.
अरे सर हैप्पी हो ना.
Thank you, but why?
आप केरला से थे तो never mind. I take it back. अच्छा
Although I've celebrated many in Onam.
happy. I've been wishing a lot of happy Onam since yesterday.
Any Malu friends?
No, my maths teacher is Malayalam.
Then tell, is
Malayalam. He's from
Malayalam?
as in
Is a language?
No,
Malayali.
he speaks
Malayalam is the language. He would be a Malayali.
Malayali. Sorry,
Then tell him Onam Asham Sakal.
he was not on good terms, but
Done? Okay.
पता नहीं.
Which country triumphed the 4th Intercontinental Cup Football Championship, defeating India? We got defeated 3-0.
That is sad.
France.
Huh? इंडिया को इंडिया ने हराया. ये तोहफा हमने खुद को दिया है.
Korea.
Surprising. Syria. That was literally the worst type of comment to have there. War tone. ये dangerous क्यों है? बेचारा country है. It's war tone. How is it dangerous? It's war tone. It's literally a sad country, and yet they managed to defeat us.
Yes,
कोई ना थोड़ा पैसे देंगे.
Okay. Which country secured the top spot in best country ranking according to US News and World Report?
Finland.
India, by the way, was 33rd. Huh?
Yay.
Usually it is not
Usually one of the Scandinavian countries.
Denmark,
Huh?
Switzerland, Norway. Yeah, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah. Let's go have some chocolate.
Normally it is one of those Scandinavian countries. I recently saw the prisons of some Norway or Denmark. यहाँ के कई होटल रूम से बढ़िया है. यहाँ के crime करो, you get better vacation there. Okay. Which country, under the leadership of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, is planning to enact legislation to ban social media for children under 16?
Australia. Turkey and Australia.
Albanese.
I hope all countries follow.
Yeah.
And enhance the limit till 21. In fact, why should there be an age limit? Ban social media.
China
Can you see the progress those guys have made because of that? हफ्ते भर बहुत ट्राई किया, 2 फॉलोअर भी नहीं है, इसलिए अभी से बैन. फॉलोइंग लास्ट वीक्स थी, मैं नहीं तो कोई नहीं है. नहीं हो पाया. इन कमीनों में से किसी ने फॉलो नहीं किया. Okay. The National Florence Nightingale Awards is given to whom? Obviously, Florence Nightingale was famous for being a nurse. Lady with the lamp. So, nurses and nursing professionals.
If I didn't have context, I would say lady with the lamp. If I didn't have context.
Formula 1 के लिए first Asian F4
Okay. ONDC and Bhashini have launched Dash reference app to make e-commerce inclusive, basically in all Indian languages, at least 22 of them. So what is the name of this app? No, ONDC and Bhashini have launched, together they have launched this app, which is basically for inclusivity of languages in e-commerce. This app is known as the Sarthi app. वो तो ऐसे बोले जैसे समझ में आया. लिटरली सारथी का मीनिंग पता है? The charioteer. A Sarthi is a charioteer, the person who drives the chariot. Okay. Okay. Which typhoon in Vietnam, Asia's most powerful storm?
Except option. It don't be bad. That's the bad.
This was Typhoon Yagi.
One in Japan.
Yeah, I remember watching.
Asia's most powerful storm so far. Okay. Which organization launched Project Naman to support defense pensioners, veterans, and families?
Army.
The Indian Army. Huh?
Okay. Right.
You ask me the full form or literal meaning of the word? Naman karna. Okay. Which state cabinet
Uttar Pradesh.
approved a new social media policy? Answer क्या है? Okay. ये भी देखा हमने, आज ही देखा ये तो. Responsible use of artificial intelligence in military domain. In fact, इसमें वापस एक बार देखा, South of Korea. And this one, so somebody told me, but I would love it if you can give me the answer without referring your notes. Andaman and Nicobar Island capital Port Blair. Vishnu Vijayapuram.
I don't know.
पहले पोर्ट ब्लेयर बोलती तो बड़ा लगता, हाँ कहाँ जा रही है, श्री विजयपुरम का मंदिर दर्शन जा गया ऐसा।
We don't say Sri Vijayapurama. We'll just say Port Blair. We don't officially. Only because normally Port Blair is
Okay. Who's the current chair of BRICS and will host all the related meetings in 2024? Country.
Brazil.
BRICS में literally BRICS.
Brazil. Russia.
Russia. Brazil, Russia, India,
China.
China, and South Africa.
अभी तो प्लस प्लस हो गया ना।
Okay. A 2,000 crore investment for enhancing weather forecasting and management in India. The name of this is Mission what?
मिशन वेदर को हिंदी में क्या बोलते
तापमान.
Atman is temperature. Prakriti is nature. Vatavaran is atmosphere.
क्या बोलते हैं वेदर को?
Mausam. It was that obvious. It was actually that obvious. Okay. Which country secured significant diplomatic victory by being seated among the member states at the 79th UN General Assembly session? It was not a full UN member, but it was supported by 143 votes in favor. Palestine. Israel, of course, opposed it, saying it's not a sovereign nation. But it got 143 votes in favor.
You know, there are some countries that do not recognize Israel as a country.
Fun kya hai? Imagine not being recognized. Imagine, let me say I don't recognize you as a human being.
Hey, it's kind of ironic.
Bad.
Ironic.
Chalo, done.
Wait, is it a beer? Oh, is it? It's not even a deer. This is not a deer, right?
Apparently, I mean, this one is not going to help you at all. But उनका customer care का number is very close to my phone number. Because every दिन में 3 बार मेरे को इस कंपनी का कॉल, इस कंपनी के लिए कॉल आएगा. कहीं ऐसी बात करो जो नहीं. They are into agricultural equipment manufacturing.
Wow. John Deere.
गलत नहीं है. It is Deere. John Deere with an E at the end.
I've seen that somewhere. It's a stationery. Big? I own the pen.
If you haven't,
I own the pen.
these are the most sold pens in the world.
They're
Big,
the
big
best
pens.
pens. They're the best pens.
Sastu Saru ne tikao.
I ordered. The best pen. Sticky note. No, post it.
Post it.
Converse. It's a bag, clothing brand. Something.
Woodland is inspired by this company. This is the original. Woodland is also an inspiration from this company. This is Timberland. Timberland was the original.
It's a airline company. Air something. Airline.
Space related.
Is it US की airline?
Maybe.
Emirates. US or something like that.
It's not a carrier. It's not. Oh, you are naming carriers.
It's not a fighter jet.
Commercial, huh?
Boeing नहीं है.
It is Boeing.
Boeing है.
It is Boeing. चल
जल्दी खत्म हो गया.
कुछ था नहीं बोरिंग हफ्ते में कुछ हुआ ही नहीं
Right.
तो क्या करें क्या बट ही मिस द डायमंड लीग बाय 1 सेंटीमीटर पेनफुल
If we are telling you.
चलो ऑनलाइन डन शेयर